Today we have one that's about the boy in the dresser inside the antique dresser. So,
Inside the dresser?
yes, this this redditor says, when I was younger, I had an imaginary friend who lived in this massive antique dresser. We'd chill out, and I vividly remember
How big
him
was
telling
this?
me stories.
How big was this massive antique dresser that a boy could live in it?
I don't know, but if it's an imaginary boy, it can be any size, right?
Yeah.
So he says they just chill out.
Hmm.
I read through the story. Uh, he has no recollection of what it ever said to him, though,
Oh,
because they spoke. But
that's a
he,
pretty crappy imaginary friend if you can't remember anything it told you at any point in time.
well, he does remember on one day talking to his. He says, "I remember one day talking to my parents about it. Dad traveled quite a bit, so he wasn't up to date with what I was into. And when I started telling him about my dresser buddy, he wanted to know his name. It was something innocent like Peter or Patrick,
Yeah, I remember
but I
my
can still
imaginary
see him
friend's
going
name.
white in the face. So his dad went white in the face, and so um, this boy, this redditor, drew Peter or Patrick out for his dad the very next day, and he and his uncle took out the dresser and burned it.
That
Uh,
seems a little extreme. Just because your kid has an imaginary friend, you burn the dresser?
well, it says here, it wasn't until a few years later when I found out my dad's little brother, my uncle, also had the same friend with the same name who lived in the
Oh.
same who lived in the same antique dresser. I didn't get that far.
Oh.
So after a few months of the typical imaginary friend shit, my uncle started having night terrors and couldn't sleep because of Peter Patrick. It got so bad that they had to move him out of his room before he managed to get back to normal.
Oh, wow.
So it caused this redditor PTSD
Oh,
for
wow.
his brother,
Oh, his uncle.
uncle, right? His uncle who had the same
Uh,
imaginary friend.
I'd be happy to know that Peter Patrick was doing well.
I know, right?
Yeah, if someone told me, oh yeah, I saw your imaginary friend the other day, doing pretty good. Still living in that nice big old antique dresser. How about you just be like, oh hey, tell him I said hey. Why burn his house? Like that's messed up. You're just
I
gonna go
know
and burn your old friend's
because
house down because he's there still? Come on.
because they were friends.
Yeah.
So why would he burn it just because they had the same imaginary friend? I don't get it.
Yeah.
That seems like an extreme reaction.
Seems like the uncle wasn't a very good friend.
Who?
The uncle, he wasn't a very good friend. He burned his imaginary friend's house down. That's jacked up.
Well, that then the moral of the story is be a better friend.
Yeah, be a better friend to your imaginary friend.
Don't be like this guy's uncle.
Yeah. And the whole coincidence of it being the same imaginary friend name living in the same dresser, that one's got my head scratching. Uh,
Yeah, that's interesting, but I mean, the kid could have heard it from anywhere. The uncle could have been telling an old story at some point, and the kid heard it, and he was the little kid, and he just took it on.
I say it was a ghost. You've just now traumatized that ghost of a child by burning his house down.
Oh no, and now they're really gonna come after you.
Oh yeah. Now the
So,
ghosties are angry.
so how'd that end up, Predator? Um, Light with darkness. How'd that, how'd that end up? Are you guys okay? Are you guys experiencing anything strange? Because personally, if I was a ghost and my house
I'd
was
be
burned
I'd
down,
be pretty peeved.
I'd be pissed. I wouldn't be a happy ghost. But that's just me.
I'd go haunt him.
Well,
Yeah. Oh.
that's what you get when you're a bad friend.
Yeah.
Moral of the story: be a good friend.
Yeah. Oh. If you like the video, give us a like. If you dislike it, our imaginary friends are going to come after you.
His imaginary friends.
I got lots of them.
You too.
We have parties. People look at me, they'll look at us all kind of weird and say, "Hey, why you cheersing with the air?" It's like, no, that's Jeremy. What are you talking about?
Well,
You just don't like my friends, do you?
maybe not.
You walk through them, you sit on them all the time. Not cool.
I've thought about this a lot. How many people have died since people started
Living?
being human and living? Wouldn't the ghosts be crashing into each other?
Yeah, it'd be very
There'd
crowded.
be so many deaths. How could they? I mean, it would be like an anthill.
Well, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure that every ghost is from the Victorian era.
Oh yes,
They're
always
there's a ghost
from
sighting. Oh, it was a woman wearing a Victorian era dress.
That is the go-to.
I'm sorry.
That is the go-to.
If you're gonna claim that you saw a ghost, be a little bit more creative. Like, oh, yeah, saw a ghost. She was wearing bell bottoms. The Victorian era's old. No one cares anymore. Choose an era that people care about.
Yeah. And if you have Pete's Dragon, well, let me know down there in the comments. That would be Elliot.
Good imaginary friend.
A good imaginary friend. And he would definitely hit that like and subscribe.
Definitely.
Elliot's a good friend.
Have a good day.
Bye, folks. Wow. People believe in many different things. This is wild.